No, I mean my wife says the same to me all the time. She's like, "Your body doesn't look good, but the audio's fine." Yeah,
That well, then that's all that matters.
that's all that matters. Yeah.
Counter to intelligence.
Welcome to Counter to Intelligence. I am Ken the Bunker. With me, my faithful friend.
Tom, the debunker. I'm not even sure if we're having an episode today, but we'll figure that out later.
Probably not. Probably
Really?
not. I don't know. So we've skirted this subject in other podcasts and we decided to go deep into it. I'm sure other people have researched it, but this is our take on it.
Yeah.
It's forever awesome. It's MK Ultra. And they've been around and they've been in like cool movies, like even the TV show Stranger Things kind of dabbles into like what MK Ultra did. It's Stranger Things experiments were kind of loosely based off of MK Ultra type of stuff. But I thought we'll do what we do. I'm going to give you information and then we'll talk about it. And then
I will bet.
so yeah. So first and foremost, what is MK Ultra? Like if people don't know, it was a top secret CIA program. It was officially known as Project MK Ultra, and it says that it was from the 1950s through the early 70s. That's what they're saying, and then it kind of stopped, or did it? We'll get into that later. Uh, its goal was basically to develop ways of doing mind control, interrogating people, behavioral manipulation, and mostly it was unethical way of treating people.
Crazy.
Yeah, so their key ways of doing it, they use drugs, LSD, which we discussed in previous episode with the Manson family. There's a connection through a guy named Jolly West. They also used hypnosis, not hypnotists, but I guess hypnosis, and basically their subjects, the people they used. This is where it gets kind of interesting. It was unwitting U.S. and Canadian citizens who would just show up and be like, here's $500 to let us test you. Prisoners, mentally ill people, which is always a great, people to
Yeah.
mess
Yeah.
with their minds even more. And even CIA employees who had no idea, as well as military personnel who had no idea.
Yeah.
Um,
Crazy.
Besides using drugs and stuff, they use sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, as well as psychological techniques. So it's all around just not a good. Nothing they said is good.
Not a way to
Uh,
spend a weekend. This
yeah.
is so fun.
So they got exposed in 1975 during the congressional investigations. They also in 1973 the CIA director Richard Helms ordered most of MK Ultra's files to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Interesting. And interesting. We talked about Richard Helms a little bit ago during the Mountain Dew thing because he, along with Pepsi, overthrew the government of Chile and led to more people being murdered. He was all around. Apparently, everything I found on him, not a great guy.
Yeah.
The fact that they are trying to hide what they were doing, that tells you. But yeah, a lot of stuff did survive. Not enough that we know. Now, so that's basically it. Now, here, if you'd like, I found some of the different experiments they did, as well as a few people who died from these experiments that we now know. Um, so the one of the biggest experiments that they ran, it was called Operation Midnight Climax, and this was run by a guy named George Hunter White, and he was using narcotics on CIA agents. He had safe houses in San Francisco and New York City.
Safe houses.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I mean, again, San Francisco, that's where the Manson family got involved, was
Yeah.
there. Um, uh, they the CIA hired sex workers to lure unsuspecting men back into these apartments or safe houses. They were dosed with LSDs without their knowledge. And then they were, given certain things to drink, again, roofies and whatnot. And then they were given code words and stuff, and they were trying to see if they could get them to do stuff.
Crazy. Like Treadstone. This is like a real life
Yeah,
born identity.
yeah, exactly. There was basically a bunch of unethical violations, long-term trauma of these people. A lot of people didn't even realize what had happened to them. Then later were in real psychiatrists and find out, holy crap, what happened to you? And found out, okay. One of the biggest cases that this happened to was a guy named Frank Olson, and he was a army scientist who was dosed with LSD by CIA. Uh, and days later, he fell to his death from a New York window.
Yeah.
They ruled it a suicide, but it's kind of
Yeah.
iffy.
He didn't, what I understood is he didn't know that he had been dosed with this and just, yeah,
Yeah, he
thought
had
was
no
seeing
clue.
things or whatever. Yeah.
And he was a smart man. He was a biochemist and a bacteriologist. I guess that's how you say it.
Sounds right.
He worked at Fort Detrick.
Fort Detrick. Wow.
Yeah, that's where he was stationed. And he had top secret clearance, and apparently he was well liked, and showed no signs of any kind of suicidal or depression.
Yeah.
Up into any of this, and then suddenly took a nosedive. So basically, he attended a retreat with the CIA and other colleagues at a place at Deep Creek Lake, Maryland, and this is where he got dosed. They slipped him LSD. A few days later, he started to show signs of distress and paranoia and anxiety, and he told colleagues he wanted to leave his job, suggesting he was rethinking the morality of what he was involved in.
Mm.
And then he died on November 28th, 1953. Again, ruled with suicide, but he was starting to see things, and and some people say he was going to go to higher authorities and say, "Hey, I think they did something to me," and then he ended up dead. So he's been the X-Files talked about him, Jason Bourne, all these things are kind of based off of what happened to this guy. Another experiment was called the Edgewood Arsenal experiment, where U.S. Army testing the drugs of LSD and BZ and mescaline and stuff on their military personnel. That was a huge one. Another thing they did was it's called psychic driving, where it's basically sleep deprivation and they induce comas. It's also the people who, like the Men Who Talk to Goats movie was kind of loose based off of, where they are trying to see, like, remote viewing.
Remote view, yeah.
But they're forcing these people to do it or see if they could. They're trying to, a lot of these experiments were adapted from Soviet and Nazi research. So we got it from the Nazis. And they were using to reprogram people. Now, it's interesting. It wasn't just military places. They also were going to different universities and different around the country. And students had no idea that this was happening. Stanford, Harvard, Columbia, all of them had it came out later that these students were being researched. Interesting. Ted Krasinski, the Unabomber, was a participant in a psychological stress experiment at Harvard under Henry Murray, who was a former CIA agent and reportedly linked to the MK Ultra stuff.
Whoa, that's quite a connection.
Yeah, that's another cool. Like, look at that. We had Frank. Again, we've mentioned Jack Ruby. We've mentioned Charles Manson. We even what's his name? Lee Harvey Oswald. All have these weird connections to these military tests being done on them.
That's cool.
So that is kind of like an overview. I mean, we get, yeah, I could get into depth of like all the different people. Uh, but what are your thoughts on it? Obviously, it did happen.
It did happen. I mean, it's a real
Yeah,
thing. They've released all the files and stuff. I was searching on the internet, and it's all officially released. And
at
yeah,
least the ones they didn't destroy.
right, right. That's true. The ones they didn't destroy. Actually, it'd be fascinating to know some of the things that were destroyed because I'm sure these are the types of experiments they did, but they must have some specific records somewhere, right? Or now
Yeah,
they're destroyed. But that would be really interesting. I think what it proved to me was that you can't actually brainwash anyone. It seems like all these experiments fail. You can just mess them up psychologically.
yeah.
But it's not like Treadstone where you say the 13 words like watermelon, whatever. I'm not going to say the rest of them because
Oh,
make you
what'd you
start doing
say?
stuff. But you can't actually control people. Like I think this,
Sorry.
this is our most like active episode ever. Okay, we got Ken doing things. So
Yeah, well, stop saying my trigger words.
yeah.
So,
To think it's watermelon in the summer, that's bad. That one word.
no, all right, I'll calm down.
I'm
All
not
right.
coming to your house with a watermelon. That's all
Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
saying. That's going to be bad. Um, yeah, so I think you can get, so I'm thinking you can get people to comply against like to things like if you tortured them, electroshock, whatever, people will say anything to avoid pain. So I think it proved like the only way you could get people to like do stuff is to like temporarily force them to avoid pain. They have to do some activity they don't want to do, but you can't get them to like become basically unconscious zombies that just do what people want, which is I think is what they wanted out of this, right?
Yeah, I think that's what they're after.
Yeah.
So,
So it seems like, yeah. So sort of the good news is like you can't actually be brainwashed in reality, but you could be forced into compliance or submission if you were, if your alternative was some horrible consequence that you got kind of conditioned to know was going to happen. But yeah, what a weird program. That's bizarre. Like this is a true one. There's no
yeah.
conspiracy. This is actually true. This happened.
Well, I think it's not they like one thing I think they did realize like through LSD and the different drugs is
Mm.
it's not necessarily you're getting them to. I mean, you kind of get people to do stuff in that
Right.
when you get them paranoid enough
Right.
through the drugs, and
Yeah.
then you say you got to kill this person because they're after you. And I think
Right.
that's
Right. Right.
kind of what like
What they
Manson
wanted.
family did, like
Yeah.
where they killed these innocent people for no reason. And
Right. I could see that.
and I think and they do know that all of them hyped up on LSD before they went on these killing sprees.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I wonder, and it's not necessarily that they were brainwashed or controlled, it was more they got so
Suggested.
paranoid
Yeah.
and then I guess some of them went the way of killing themselves as
Right.
opposed to, you know,
Right.
killing others.
Yeah.
But
So
so what are your thoughts? Do you think that this programming is still happening? Or do you
I
think they're
can't
like, oh, we're
imagine.
done?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that they would ever do anything like that again because like it's been exposed. It was obviously a horrible mistake. And it seems to me like the motivations are so bizarre. Like the people that were into this just they really thought that communists were like doing this. So they're like, we have no choice. We have to do this thing. And maybe the communists were. I don't know if you looked into that, but
Mhm.
clearly it didn't work for anybody. And I can't
Right.
imagine it just seems like one of these things that just doesn't work. Why would you pursue it? Like they spent what, a decade or so, 2 decades on this? How long did
Yeah.
they spend on this?
From the 50s to like the early 70s.
70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. So I think for practical purposes, nobody would pursue it because it's treadstones the myth. Like there's no way to get people to actually do that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think maybe it's
Well,
coming?
I think, well, here's what's interesting is that recently MK Ultra, besides, TV shows and all that, have come back into uh, the mindset. Candace Owens uh, recently was talking about Kanye West and the thing she came up with, and I was like, and I just as I was doing, I listened to this bit from she was on someone else's podcast, um, and she was talking about Kanye, and she said, if you watch Kanye's life, he he went from here to crazy
Yeah,
in a matter of 10 years.
that's true.
And she said, when he started losing his mind and going off the deep end, he started working with this trainer to the stars named Harley Pasternakm, Pasternakm. Now, this guy's from Canada. He's a personal trainer.
Okay.
Well, he was also in the Canadian military. He's also got a degree in biochemistry. He has a degree like in these different things. And she's saying that she thinks this guy did something kind of. In fact, there was a tweet, or not a tweet, but a text message between the two, and between Kanye and basically in it, uh, when Kanye went to a mental health place in 2016, and this is the guy that got him into it, sent him to this place. So then recently something happened. He sent Kanye a text, said, "Hey, let's sit down and talk. This can go one of two ways. One, we sit down, talk, work out our differences, or two, I'm going to drug you up again, send you back, like to the point that you will be, you're going to be effed up forever." And it was like, and she's like, that's messed up that
Yeah,
this guy said this.
yeah.
And she is like, he's been like, he works at, not only was a trainer to the stars, but he's a trainer to the stars, but he's also a biochemist. He's also a works at a university in the psychological whatever.
Oh,
So he's got these weird connections. And then she said not only Kanye West, but a couple other celebrities who are now dead also had him as a personal trainer. And they also had these weird downfalls of being pretty normal to bat crazy. And in a matter of time. And then she started listening all these other celebrities, and you look at them like and I'm not saying this guy's involved, but
right.
this was Candace Owens' conjecture, and
Wow.
I found it interesting. And she mentioned like you look at Ariana Grande, like I mean, you look at her now to where she was 5 years ago, and something's going on with her.
Yeah.
There's other like Miley Cyrus. You go from where she was 10, 15 years ago to now, and there's a weird drastic shift. I guess he's worked with a lot of different people, and if you look at their lives, where they were pre him to where they are now after being with him, and you could always say, well, that's just Hollywood, they've gotten in, but like it's certain people who have had these drastic shifts,
Yeah.
and to the point that you're like, what is going on? What is he doing? What is he possibly giving them? Like, here, drink this water, and there's something in
It's
it.
your training
And,
water.
yeah. And so that was, so I found that interesting, that
That is
perhaps it may not be the CIA still doing it, but I think there might still be organizations or groups that are still trying these experiments and in government entities that are like, we're not CIA anymore but it's
Canada.
some other, it's to the Canadians. But like, I did find it interesting when I was doing that, like Ted Kaczynski, the humor, was a guy who did this experiment at Harvard.
That is really bizarre that he was involved with that. Yeah. And maybe that was the trauma that caused him to.
Like he was probably hyped up on some kind of LSD, or I mean, when you see pictures of him, he was whacked out. I mean, there's also connection to the other guy, Kansas City bomber. I can't remember his name.
Oh, he had it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he was an experiment guy. Well, he was in military, but there's claims that he had done special testing when he was in the army. I can't remember the dude's name, but anyway, I'm not going to give him credit. He's dead now.
Right.
So anyway,
doesn't need credit.
But he was a bad dude. So it's just interesting that there's certain people that even after these experiments were done, were in certain kind of like testing type of subjects, trying different things, and then went off the deep end. And again, I'm not saying this personal trainer is involved, but
a weird correlation, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
and the text message he sent doesn't really help him out.
Right.
Like to
That's
make
kind
him
of
be
a
like,
bad thing to say.
I mean, yeah, that's like, dude, like you're threatening to give this dude lots of drugs. You're supposed to be a trainer, which is supposed to make you healthy,
Right.
and you're threatening to basically give this guy so many drugs that he will be a vegetable almost. I mean, that's basically where the text message came out as, that we're just going to hype you up on so many drugs, you're going to be drooling. So, yeah. So be careful with personal trainers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't ever have
I
one.
think it's MK Ultra Personal Trainer. If anybody builds themselves as that, like don't hire them. Like that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there might still be entities out there doing this stuff or trying to see what they can do. And there's
Yeah.
also new drugs all the time. There is one that's really interesting, and it's a drug. They call it the zombie drug,
Oh,
and it's I don't know if it's made it up to America yet, like in the United States, but in South America, it's really whacked out. Like people have basically lost everything because of it, where someone will slip them this drug into their drink or whatever. And it's been cases where like they walk into the building with like these friends of theirs, and the people are like, hey, and he's like, hey, and he empties his whole apartment with these people. And then he comes back in his apartment and he doesn't remember any of it.
oh, that's bizarre.
Not a single thing. And like he's been robbed. And in a lot of cases, they even go to the ATM and drain his bank account. And it's
Wow.
like one of these, like, and I think Vice, the YouTube Vice channel, did a like an in-depth look at it and talked to these people who it's happened to. And it's like a crazy drug where you take it and you are totally like, you know,
So
people
there
are
is, that sounds like there is a real drug that kind of does what they were doing that.
hoping. Yeah. So
We're
maybe
hoping,
they've
yeah.
developed this to the
Yeah.
point like, maybe the CIA finished because they finally figured out how to do it. And then they're using it. And I don't think it's not like, Jason Bourne where you say a secret message. You
Right.
just take this drug and then they're like, and I think it's called the zombie drug if you want to look it up. Like
Yeah.
it's
Oh, xylazine, is that the name of it? It's
I
a
am not sure.
tranquilizer.
I mean it's like I watched the documentary on it and heard the people who
Yeah.
bad stuff has happened to, and I was like, that is messed up.
Oh my
Which
God.
that's why I stopped going to clubs because I don't want to be taken advantage of.
Oh
So
my gosh. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, that stuff freaks me out. Yeah, that's oh, New York Times did it.
oh, they did one too.
Yeah, there's it's this,
Yeah.
let's see here. Oh, apparently I need to like pay to see this article.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. New York Times always.
Yeah, but apparently it's, yeah, it's a combination of fentanyl and something mixed with the xylazine. The
Mhm.
DEA has a report on it. Oh wow. And it's quite deadly, they say.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it can kill you, but it also like it messes with you bad. Like, and
right.
these people, like, and what's interesting, like, the people that have been here can't even remember who they were with or anything. Like, so they, and then like the neighbors, well, it looked like you were just with friends.
Right.
You came in and you walked in normal, and like they're just, it's basically like, yeah, go upstairs, let's go to your house, let's go, open the door, and they're like, and they you just do what you're told to do, which thankfully, like as far as I've read, nobody has done anything to the point of hurting someone, like they
Right.
haven't
Right.
like murdered. But man, probably by now they have. I mean, the
Right.
documentary I watched was like 5 years ago, I think,
Yeah.
and that's when it was made. So since then, I mean, if you're a cartel and you want to take somebody out, you just go kill that guy, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
like, and and like I said, they don't remember anything. So
That's crazy.
apparently, so yeah.
Well,
So I think it's still
that's
going
scary.
on.
All right. I don't know. I'm the skeptic, but it scares me. I got to tell you that if that's true, wow, that's scary because we got to do something about that, right? Because if the drug
Yeah,
gets up here, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the reason you keep doing this show is I keep giving you the drug, and you're like, "Oh, it's time to do another podcast." And
Watermelon.
then like tomorrow, you'll be like, you're like, "I'm on a podcast." What are you
Right.
talking
It's
about?
so weird. And this guy's named Ken. Do I know him? I don't even
Maybe
know
I,
what's going
I
on.
don't remember ever meeting this guy.
Yeah.
What are
That's
you talking
bizarre.
about? Like I'm in cahoots with your wife. She gives you the drug and you do the podcast.
Well, she
Because
would have me do like, I don't know, more garbage and cleaning up around the house or something, right? Like
yeah,
there'd probably be other uses. I don't know. I don't know if her top priority would be our podcast, honestly. She'd be like, I need stuff cleaned. So,
yeah. Well, maybe she's doing both.
oh wow, that could be. I don't remember her cleaning yesterday, but her house is clean, so it could be
Yeah.
evident.
All
Maybe
right.
so. Yeah.
I
Well,
like it.
this
I
is
like it.
fascinating. What a fascinating topic. And it's bizarre because it is a real thing. It's probably the first one that's like truly confirmed, one of the few that we've done that's truly
Yeah.
confirmed officially, like this was an actual program. So,
Yeah. Yeah. They actually did do this.
yeah,
But then it's led up to a lot of conspiracies and they show
right.
up in a lot
Yeah, a
because
lot of movies.
like when yeah, and then like a lot of different like the conspiracy and we'll be doing more late conspiracies later and they're gonna show up again.
Right.
Uh
No, it's yeah.
what
The
yeah, so
connections, right? The thing is that people look for patterns, right? And you found so many that are bizarre, like these weird connections to the trainer and some of the other folks you mentioned, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So,
and just how they did and like the different what's crazy is how they infiltrated, like you said, higher education systems, Stanford,
right,
Harvard, Columbia, and then they infiltrated hospitals. They were all over the place. You know, how supposedly they were in the Lexington Hospital, Astacadero State Hospital in California, the Vacaville Prison, and the Federal Penitentiary in Atlanta. And then what I also, to me, this kind of also confirms the thing about Jolly West and Charles Manson, in that the MK Ultra admits that they had safe houses in San Francisco, and Jolly West was in San Francisco uh, with his free clinic for the hippies,
wow,
and that's where Charles Manson built his. That's where the Manson family got together, was in San Francisco at the same time that Jolly West was there and MK Ultra admitted to being there. So all that together has been there, and that to me, as we did this one, like that for to me further confirms that in my mind, maybe
right.
not to you,
Not
that
to me, but I'd say in your mind, I think it's clear.
yeah, it's to me it's clear that Manson was messed up by the CIA. Like,
Yeah,
and he wasn't. I don't think he was doing any. None of what he did was on his own. It was
on his
all
own. Yeah,
yeah, because like if you pre uh you know pre Manson family, Charles Manson was not a brilliant guy. He
right.
was
That's
not.
true.
He was a petty thief,
Yeah,
kind of like loser, and
yeah.
then suddenly he's this mastermind. And I'm like, there's something's not
Something there.
adding up. And then with this, the whole MK Ultra stuff adds more to the like, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Like he had somebody, a handler, like, let's do this, let's do this.
I
We'll
wonder.
provide you with the
Yeah,
girls and the LSD,
yeah.
and
And he
you
was
just
the puppet master.
yeah. So they
Maybe
just
that's an episode. Maybe that we might have to do one on him because I don't think we've gone deep in Manson, have we?
no, we glaze over. We talked about him via Jolly West
Right. Yeah.
and then what he did, but I don't think I'm ready for Manson yet because that's just a disturbing world
That is a
stuff.
disturbing one. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out what the next one's gonna be because I just learned 30 seconds ago because I was doom scrolling as we're talking that there is a QAnon and a blue anon. Did you know that there are competing anons and one is far right and one is far left, supposedly from the internet?
Really?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, we got some options. I was
Yeah.
looking at the list. But this is fascinating, this MK Ultra, and yeah, hopefully nothing like this is happening again, or hopefully other governments aren't doing, the same thing that we
Well,
admittedly.
I'm guessing Chinese government's probably doing it.
Yeah, I could see
They
that. I don't know.
they're probably doing it.
Yeah,
And I
Russia.
don't
I
think
don't know. Yeah,
Russia's probably doing it.
who
I
knows?
don't
Yeah.
probably. I'm gonna say they are.
All
What are
right.
they gonna do?
What are they?
Right, they could kill me, I guess, but I have no proof one way or the other they're doing it. But like, it makes for a good fodder. They're
It does
doing it.
make for a good father. It does. It does. All right. So what are we
Yeah,
gonna do? Do you think we are ready to talk about what we're gonna do next? Because I don't know.
I
Do we
am. I
have?
am ready to talk.
Okay.
Like
You're
now,
more
what
prepared.
one thing I'd like to go into is Adolf Hitler and his where'd he go?
Yes. Is he still alive?
Did
I
he
heard
die
somebody
in the
say this.
bunker, or
Yes.
did he get away to like Argentina?
Yeah. I think that's
And
a great one.
that's always been an interesting favorite one of mine. And I have my uh, you know, obviously I'm going to side on that. Yes, he got out of Germany, but then you probably are like, no, he's dead. Well, he is dead now.
I mean,
But
yeah,
yeah,
he would.
yeah, I think we can both agree he's dead now.
We definitely
But
agree on that.
yeah,
But
but
people
I
believe
don't think.
he didn't. He didn't commit suicide. He's still alive, right? So
Yeah, he's still alive, real alive. He's working out with that trainer to the stars
yeah,
and
yeah,
staying
exactly.
healthy and taking LSD.
And he's
And
130 years older. I don't know. We have to
yeah,
do the math,
yeah,
but
he'd be
yeah,
really old. Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, I say we dive into Adolf Hitler. Did he make it out of Germany alive? And
Yes,
where'd he go? And what people think, and then find out what you think.
that's
So
right.
don't tell me yet.
Please tell us, listeners, if you have any ideas too, comments
Yeah,
on this, right? We'd love you to
yeah,
like and subscribe and to give us your comments. We want to know what you think.
yeah, exactly. And we're on Reddit now. You can go to Reddit there's a counter to intelligence Reddit thread, and you can post whatever you want,
Right.
and we will like it and maybe even comment. And we're working on a counter to intelligent Discord page. It is not launched yet, but it'll be there, and you can join that too and we'll let you know, and then you can send us messages via Discord.
And
You know,
maybe one day we'll work up to a mini series or a movie. I don't know. We'll
yeah,
see
who
how it
knows?
goes.
Yeah. And
Like,
as we're on Instagram and YouTube and Spotify and all that. And yeah, we're not
yeah,
on Facebook yet, but
not yet.
maybe
We'll
one
get
day,
there.
one day, one
Yeah,
day. Yeah. So I think we've done it well. We've given everybody what they need to know about MK Ultra. They can dive in deeper if they want.
yeah.
And if they do, tell us what your favorite experiment MK Ultra did and which one you wish had been done to you. And I'd like to know.
I
That's it.
would too. That's the best question. We got to end with
Yeah.
that. That's pretty awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you,
Bye.
everybody.